Palmer, Terry Bradshaw.
Did you compare him to Kevin White, Alex?
I wouldn't put that label on him because I do think he's better than Kevin. So, I mean, Ohio State receiver, you could essentially end the evaluation and the analysis there because that coaching and what they do with wide receivers at Ohio State is awesome.
I don't give a damn how young he is. We are not leaving out Patrick Mahomes. You're the young goat. The young goat. Yo! What's good, people? We got another episode of the Good Hour. What's popping with you, my boy?
Not much. Just dealing with the heat. How about you? Here I am complaining to the heat to a guy from Texas.
That's what I'm about to say. I try to stay out of it. Only time I'm dealing with the heat is when I run to the car and run back to the house. that's my experience in the heat.
So in Texas, do they do like we do in the winter? You have remote starts to get the air conditioner going to get the car cold before you get there?
If you have the remote start, I've been wanting to get one of those. I know my boy got one, and then when I asked him about, how I get that? Oh no, I got this when I got the car. I'm like, he can't give me no information. I'm like, okay. I mean, it's not that serious. I was saying it don't be that serious. I mean, it's just a small inconvenience, so it's whatever. But it don't get that cold out here. This is not Canada, so it's not getting that cold. I mean,
that's why I don't get why the government's putting the forward by 2030. You can't have any gas car vehicles. You know how fast batteries die in Canada? Like, I don't want a battery powered car. I'm going to drive gas. I'll buy old cars, I guess. Like, nobody's going to follow that completely. It's just insane to me. But did the floods affect you at all in Texas?
No. I mean, I'm in Houston, so that's more so like outside of San Antonio. So it's about 222 miles away when I looked up where that was, because I was like, they kept trying to put Houston in there. I'm like, it is not happening in the Houston area. I was like, I would have seen it all on my timeline of all my Houston friends. So
they're more ocean floods there, aren't they? That's what was before. Oh no, it was a hurricane. It was a hurricane, right?
We are not by the ocean.
No, the one that JJ Watt raised a bunch of money for, was that a hurricane then?
Probably. I don't know what you're talking. If you're talking about some years ago, it was a hurricane. I can't remember which one that was.
No, me neither. I just couldn't remember what the natural disaster was that caused that. But you also got crazy stuff going on that now they're saying there is no Epstein client list anymore. Did you see that news?
That sound like your stuff. Like what I forgot what Good always call it. Whatever. But your non-football stuff you love to get into.
Oh yeah.
Conspiracy theory. There you go. That sounds like your conspiracy theory stuff.
No, but that's real. They're actually saying that there is no Epstein file list now. Like that's what Trump is saying with his cabinet right now. And then you had 6 FBI people were fired today, and I think charged with something to do with the assassination attempt on Trump when he was running in his campaign for their negligence. So a couple of interesting things going out there, but not much going on in the football world. But I did notice when we were doing our thing that Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, Waddle's actually ranked slightly above him now for dynasty purposes.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised because it's still going to be Hill getting the targets and all that, getting paid that money. So until he goes, Waddle's second fiddle as far as I'm concerned.
Well, dynasty community move quick for youth. I mean, when you 30 plus wide receiver, dead man walking.
Oh yeah, just got to ride that ship to the end because you're not getting what he's worth anywhere. So he's better on your roster, especially if you're competing. But if you're not, then you just kind of got to settle to get a second or a third or whatever the hell you can get for these old guys. That's why I don't get why Good paid that first for Derrick Henry plus. I'm just like,
I was
wow.
just thinking about Good. I was like, I can't wait to see how he rebounds since he love all these older guys. When Derrick Henry and Tyreek Hill, these players he got on all his teams, when they gone, I wonder how his team will recover. It'll be interesting to see.
Yep, we'll see. You want to get into the show? Not much else to talk about in the football world, so let's talk about some past events. You want me to go first, or you want to go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
All right. So we're going to say what we think was the greatest game that we've ever watched, whether it be live or on TV in football history. So I'm going to start out here.
I might need to go first.
Okay.
Then.
Okay.
Because you bringing us back. When when I am a guy that only remember what happened recently. Like I can't remember old school games or nothing like that because I wipe my mind clean each season. So the last game I remember that caught my attention was back in 2022 was the Bills versus Chiefs AFC Championship game. It went back and forth. Went into the overtime with the Chiefs winning. I think they won 42-36 in overtime. So, and I don't know if people remember that game, but it had Gabe Davis looking like a superstar. People was out there really hyped up about Gabe Davis because he had like 8 catches for over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns. The Chiefs was leaving this man wide open, but people thought this man was good. So next season, you should have seen the people on the Gabe Davis train that was drafting Gabe Davis, and I was selling any Gabe Davis shares that I have because I knew this is what you call that, false gold.
Fool's gold.
Fool's gold. There you go. Yeah. This is fool's gold because that same fool's gold you can find on waiver wires in Dynasty League. That man don't even have a job right now.
Nope. And he's had tryouts too. So that tells you something. Teams were like, oh, let's just see what he's got. They brought him in for tryouts and still didn't sign him. I don't think it's like Keenan Allen. I think it's just waiting for the right situation to call. And then he'll probably come out and do whatever, right? Like he doesn't need to do these training camps, but Gabe Davis is the guy that does. He fooled a lot of people without, he was known as Big Play Slay, right? Like putting up that, but that game changed football forever. The overtime rules, it's what we got now where both teams at least get a possession. So that was a crazy game. Like when it was like they scored and they had 13 seconds left, the Bills were up. I'm like, there's no way the Chiefs can get this with 13 seconds. Like it's just impossible. And yet they did went into overtime. Of course, they win the coin toss, went down, scored the touchdown, and then Josh Allen never even had a shot to even match it after they tied the game. So he was just had to sit there on his hands and let it happen.
And they had some good games because, like we was talking about, even had a good game last year that was close. I mean, they have great games. Like this get your popcorn ready when them two guys match up. So.
Yeah, well, I just think they need to do some more for Josh Allen in the draft, other than drafting these defensive linemen constantly in the first or cornerback. I think they spent a couple the last couple of years. Elam, who they've already traded to Dallas, and then Harrison, who just been charged with sexual harassment. So I don't know how well what will be happening with that, because the last guy that they drafted that happened, they let go before training camp ended. So we'll see what happens there because he's got that first round draft capital as well. That'll help him stay there, but they need to get another offensive weapon. Keon Coleman's, he needs to develop. But then look, they got Shakir, who works all that underneath stuff. Who else they got? Mac Hollins to spread it out. And then you got your choice of Curtis Samuel, Laviska Shenault, or Elijah Moore.
They got a very generous GM because ain't no way if I'm going to call this team my rival that I'm going to help them trade up in the draft. To get, if I'm not mistaken, didn't they trade with the Chiefs and Chiefs ended up drafting Worthy?
Yeah, they also traded with the Chiefs, and that's how they got Patrick Mahomes.
Ain't no way.
Yeah,
ain't no way.
No,
y'all, they should have Worthy. Ain't no way.
That's what I mean.
You
it's
needed
just crazy.
All wide receiver help.
Yeah, that's what I would have done. I would have gone with 2 young guys because you let the older guys go. Josh Allen's going to have to pick up these young guys, but at least by the time they get in that year 3, 4. maybe they're studs, right? Like, we'll see. But I don't like what that GM's doing. Like, he's the one that gave them Patrick Mahomes, traded back, and then that gave them Mahomes, and then he gave them the Worthy last year. It's just like, what are you doing? Like, you're losing to these guys, and now you're helping them get a better player. What are you doing?
Maybe,
Like, you
maybe
just
the
lost
GMs playing
already.
golf on the weekends together. Who knows?
Who knows? But for my game, I'm going to go back to the year 2000. So it's still the greatest game that I remember watching. The whole game was, even the hype up to it, it was the Rams, the greatest show on turf, couldn't be stopped, going in with Kurt Warner. And on the other side, you had, they just had that miracle play with Deshaun, the Dotson there with that throwback pass that was reviewed and still controversy to this day, whether it was a forward pass or not. And they ended up getting that late touchdown to win that game to even go into the Super Bowl. So a team that wasn't even supposed to be there in the Titans, but they kept it close with running the ball. They controlled the clock. Like, they had 32 minutes of the clock, I think it was. Eddie George had the ball, ran it 28 times for only 95 yards for 2 touchdowns, though. And Kurt Warner went 24 for 45 and 414 yards and 2 touchdowns. So they did well holding them back for being the greatest show on the turf. And it came down to just 1 yard. The game's actually called 1 yard shy, where this receiver for the Titans was just reaching. And like, that ended to that game, and the build up and everything to it was just one of the greatest games I've ever seen played.
And you know what? I do not remember that game, because I'm guessing the Titans did not win. I don't remember the Titans winning no Super Bowl.
No, they came 1 yard shy of winning.
No Super Bowl.
No, it was Kurt Warner.
I did watch the Rams play. I do remember watching them Super Bowls, but it didn't stand out. They even came to a Super Bowl in New Orleans. If I'm not mistaken, I was working that Super Bowl, working security at the Super Bowl. So.
Oh, so you've got to see Super Bowl. Huh?
Please, I said I was working it. I was working
it. You must have saw a little bit of it.
Yeah, you think that? I will tell you one thing. I've never seen so many cameras in my motherfucking life.
Oh yeah.
Like, I said, wow. Like, it just was cameras galore. You know how they got this camera set up to catch every angle. That's crazy. That was something to see.
Yeah, well, when I went one time with my dad, we went down to Buffalo to see a game for like a guard bus trip. So we're drinking from Kingston down to Buffalo the whole time. And we pull up to the hotel, we're unloading our bus. Well, right behind us, I look back and I go to my buddy. I'm like, did those buses say NFL? And he's like, I think they do. And there's 3 buses, and they pulled up, and security's got it all roped up, but our bus pulled up like 30 seconds before theirs. So they must have thought when they got the call that we were part of the buses. So they're all like red roped off, and we're walking down the aisle, and I'm right beside Drew Bledsoe, and I'm looking at this guy who's like so much taller than me. Behind him's like Curtis Martin, Ty Law. Like, it was that old of a team back then. And we're carrying cases of beer and dragging our suitcase, and these guys have people like bringing their security's like picking us out one by one, going, "No, you can't be in here. What are you doing in here?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? You guys roped us in, so we're just rolling in, checking in too." It was pretty funny though. But yeah, that's my game.
Yeah, Drew Bledsoe is about 6'6" or something. I think he was part of the tall quarterbacks. When it was tall, now they're just getting shorter and shorter.
I saw the biggest man in my life that day. I don't even know what his name was. He was probably a backup lineman.
But that's what I was about to ask. Now, that's one thing I will say. Whenever I went to the Senior Bowl a couple of times, and just checked out the practices, because it's just a couple states away. So I'll just ride down there. I didn't go to this last one, but the 2 previous ones I went to. The tight ends be the biggest human beings I ever seen in my life. They're huge. Them the ones that stand out. It's not the offensive linemen. It'd be the tight ends. It's like the biggest human beings I ever seen.
Well, this guy, again, I mean, like, he was tall, man. Like, but he had to be an offensive lineman because he was also like huge. And he comes up and he's with this skinny guy who taps me on. He's like, "Do you mind if we go in? We got to go up to this floor." And I knew that was the floor that the Patriots were on. And like, "We can't ride with you. We'll get off beforehand. Like, we don't care." Like, And he goes, well, I'm with him. And I look back, and Terrence, this guy, I don't know if this other guy wasn't skinny, there's no way 2 people were fitting in that elevator. And it was a 12-person elevator. He had the duck to get in it. And he was like standing like this in the elevator and just like massive man. And just was in awe how massive this guy was. Made Andre the Giant look small.
So I got 2 stories, one is football related, one isn't. But the first one, when I was, I got back in high school, it was either high school or right out of high school, because I used to wear hats a lot. So maybe it was right out of high school, and I was in a hat shop, and there was this big human next to me, and I was like, damn, bro, you kind of big, bro. You play college football or something? Like, nah. What? Somebody, like, you should be playing for somebody. Why I saw this man on a game like the next week? He was like one of the linemen for the Saints. Like, this dude playing games. I noticed, I was like, just that dude I was just talking to in a damn store. But
they're massive, man. Like, those linemen are massive.
The biggest human I'd ever seen, though, it wasn't a football player. It was in college. It was this. I used to flirt with this girl. And I was, wearing her down, getting the number. And she let me know she had a boyfriend. And but that didn't bother me. Of course, out of sight, out of mind. One day that man came to the dorm. And it was the biggest human I ever seen in my life. Imagine Biggie Small size when he was the biggest he ever was, but he's 6'6".
Yeah, that's this guy in the elevator, man.
I said, my God. I'm just trying to think, what can I do with this guy? Like, what would be my plan of attack? It was just retreat. Sometimes you just gotta, it's fight or flight. Sometimes you just gotta flight, just because I was like, man,
you can beat him. You just gotta last that first minute. Just gotta outlast that first minute, tire him out.
Yeah, that sounds good. But the one thing I know as a big guy myself, the one thing I want to do is get my hands on you. Once I get my hands on you, it's pretty much over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's how it's going to be for him. I'm not getting close by that, man.
Yeah. Circle, circle, circle. Yeah, but you want to get on with the East teams and talk about some players we think might be good for the season?
Yeah, so Sean wanted us to pick out the AFC East and the North NFC East. We wanted to pick 5 players out these 8 teams, and we had to pick a wide receiver or a running back outside the top 25 of the position, and a quarterback or tight end outside the top 10 of the position.
Well, you could pick whatever you want. They just had to be outside the top numbers.
Yeah. It all kind of stipulations. I'm just letting them know all kind of stipulations you didn't put on this. And I was like, I was trying to go with it. So we'll see if it worked. And look, we'll see.
I will say this: when I did it as well, going through these 2 East divisions, there's not much talent in the depths of these East. I'm hoping this segment will pick up going forward. But had to pick from what we could.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Well, okay, this is looking rough.
But I think it's just the teams because they're top heavy, or they're starting to rebuild like the Jets, and they don't really have anything. Or the Patriots.
I got a couple guys that's debatable, but I think I feel like dynasty wise he's outside the top 25, but I didn't go check. I know it's close.
Close is fine.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll go with my first guy. I'm going to be pounding the table for this guy all off season, Braylon Allen. I do think the Jets have an all-time high running the ball this year and an all-time low throwing it. They'll keep it under like 220 for Fields passing attempts, and the rest will just be running. So I think they're going to use both guys pretty heavily. So I'm going with Braylon Allen. He's currently ranked 46th on the running back, so I like his chances to get in even inside the RB2 talk easily. Because right now he's in the RB4 talk.
Okay. And I picked a running back that is a rookie. And currently, people have different feelings on him. Some people is on his counterpart more than him, but I chose Cam Scatterboo. I do like Cam Scatterboo as a player, and I feel like, who better to give the ball in the red zone to than him if comparing him to Tracy. Tracy had his flashes, but it's a reason they went and drafted this guy. So I do see him taking over, even if Tracy start with more of the touches in the beginning of the season, by the end of the season, I see him taking over as the majority touches, getting the majority touches by the end of the season. So,
Oh yeah,
and then, yeah.
I agree with you. Like, people could talk all they want. Tracy did well. Tracy's a good pass catcher. He's still probably going to have a certain role because he was a wide receiver that they'll have packages for him to go in and with the two running back set, but they can go into this season thinking 50-50. But when Cam Scatterboo doesn't go down and teams can't tackle him and he's constantly getting first down after first down after first down because he's a bowling ball, man. He's hard to tackle, and he's a football player. He's got great contact balance. He's great athletically at nothing but contact. Like, his balance is supreme. So I think I agree with you. By the end of the season, he's just going to be one of these workhorses in this league that's just going to wear teams down, which is what the Giants even like to do, and especially once they get to the cold weather, then you got to start running that ball and pounding that rock and punishing the defense.
Yeah, and here's another thing, because people up there like, well, he'll be an early down back, and Tracy will be the pass catching back. You acting like Scatterboo a slouch when it comes to pass catching. He was one of the best pass catchers in this class, so he can just really completely take over this backfield.
Plus, I'd have to look it up, but I think he's thrown some touchdown passes as well.
I don't even look at that. Like, that don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it matters once or twice in the season. It might matter when they do that little chuck. Like Christian McCaffrey gets a couple attempts a year.
That's why I wasn't completely on Tyler Warren, because I was like, unless they go to an offensive coordinator that's going to use all his talent, he's just going to be a normal tight end. So that's why I wasn't, completely told on Tyler Warren. I was like, now, if he would have went to Denver, I would have been all in, because I'd seen what this guy did with Taysom Hill. I would have, hey, Tyler to the moon. But the Colts, I'm good.
Yeah. Not to mention all the tight ends they've tried over the years. They can't develop a tight end whatsoever. So now they're just throwing a dart at a high-end prospect, hoping that works. Well, you still got Richardson throwing the ball. And if he doesn't work out, you're coming in with Danny Jones. So I don't like his chances right now. Not how the Colts look currently. I don't like his situation. So, and I like Loveland going more into the draft too. But again, I don't love his situation either, because Kment's no slouch. You know what I mean? People are just writing off Kment. It's like, he's not going anywhere. They're still paying him a lot of money. Yeah. Like, it's going to be a slow process to work Loveland in here. Maybe next year will be his year, the year after, or if they can trade Kment. But until then, like, I think it's Kment's job.
I mean, people got to learn the hard way, because I remember the hype Kincaid had. Kincaid had a lot of hype coming in, and only to, not live up to the hype. And it was putting Kincaid and Knox out there, and it didn't work out how people thought it would. So,
no, and I didn't think that one would work out too. I was off on him. The only tight ends that I've been on in the last couple of years was Njoku for the Browns, who he was a late bloomer, and Pitts, who still hasn't bloomed, and Laporta. I was big on Laporta too.
No, Laporta is my miss. Everybody else I was, pretty much able to predict, and I was telling people when Bowers came out, like, whoa, why is y'all not singing Bowers' praise? This is what you wanted Pitts to be, and this is what I was saying before the season started. This is who you've been waiting. This is the Messiah. This is who you've been waiting on right here. But nobody, I don't know if they was burnt out from what happened with Pitts or what. But people wasn't excited about Bowers. Matter of fact, they was cracking jokes. Look at him on the sideline looking like a substitute teacher Look at him next to Gronk. He looking like a regular guy. Like so.
Yeah. I think that's what it was. People were still burnt on Pitts and spending that early pick, and then Kincaid after that. Like there was just a whole whack of them right in a row that people just thought were going to be it. And then Bowers comes out. Like I got him in a league at 2.02. I traded for the pick. I traded Devontae Smith for Jalen Reed in the 2.02, and I didn't know what I was going to get, but I knew that's where the cliff was. So I was going to get the last guy out of the first and second talent range, and it ended up being Brock Bowers. So and I had George Kittle as my tight end on that league too. So now I'm tight end rich. But it's always the problem. I had Scatterboo on my list, but I also did a backup, so that's fine. I figured you'd pick.
That's
Scatterboo.
why I picked him, because I knew you was gonna get to him first. Nah.
I love Scatterboo, man. I'm with you on him. I have no shares of him, and it hurts me bad. It hurts. I'm gonna go with Khalil Shakir for the Bills. I just think he's gonna be that engine again that's gonna keep those chains moving. He's gonna be that guy that gets high receptions with high yards. And every now and then we'll get those games with the touchdowns because Josh Allen, let's face it, runs a lot in and spreads the ball around on offense, but he's going to do enough where he's going to get you enough points with just a low floor every week. High receptions, high yards.
I wanted to go look at this guy's stats because whenever I draft basketball teams, I never even look at them. And I remember I was higher on him than most coming out. It's just that he never really met any of my expectations. So
he had a couple games last year he missed with an injury. But
I see he's going up each year. First year, 2022, 2.4 points per game he averaged. 23, 7.1 points a game he averaged. And then this last season, 12.2. So he's been making a 5-point jump each season. Do you think he got it in him to do another 5-point jump? I doubt it.
Now he's YR42 on Fantasy Pros. I could see him climbing into the top 36 point wise. So he's a value for where he is.
I don't know how managers feel about him. I mean, he's on a Bill offense at the end of the day. He holds some value with that, but I can see him leaving he had to leave a bad taste in people's mouth. The playoffs start week 14, right?
Yeah.
Week 14, he gave him 21.6 points. People was feeling good. And thank you. Next week, he gave you 15.9 points. He did what he needed to do.
But that's the floor.
He helped you advance.
The touchdown's the difference.
He didn't help you advance, but he did his job. If your team went to the next round and you started him, he gave you 4.2 points. 4.2 points. If some kind of way your team survived and went to the championship and you was bold enough to put him in again, he gave you 5.5 points. Oh, no. Hell no. I know he left a bad taste in some
managers. What if I told you I put him in all those weeks and I still won the championship?
You ain't win all the championships. We ain't going to do that.
No, that's the one I won against Good. I think that was the one I had Shakir. I have to go and double check, but I'm pretty sure I had Shakir in that.
Well, I know I jumped in the league with you guys, and I think you won it whatever last year, whatever. I want to let people know I just jumped in the league in the offseason. So, I took over a team. I don't feel confident about this team. I know I'll be in the mix. I should be in a playoff, but I don't think I'll be continuing for a championship. But I'll be in the mix.
You never know, man. You just got to get a hot team at the right time. Like the guy that won another one that I'm in with Good, he got hot in the playoffs. He just squeaked in as a 6th place team, I think by like points, within 10 points. And then his team went on a heater and he ended up taking the whole thing.
Yeah, you never know. You never know because, like I said, who thought Jonathan Taylor was going to do what he did? Jonathan, all of a sudden, Anthony Richardson went out. Jonathan Taylor went crazy. You just never know with fantasy football. So,
nope. It takes skill to get to the playoffs. It's luck there. That's what I find. So, who's your next guy you're thinking?
Our next guy, and like I said, this is the guy that might be teetering on that list. I didn't go check and see exactly where he at, and I put Devontae Smith because I know if I try to move Devontae Smith, people don't give me what I think his value is. But if I try to get him, people value him like the world. So he's a polarizing player. But this is a player that I call a GOAT tier prospect. You know, he was one of my highest rated wide receiver prospects. And even though he's not the number one on this team, you know, he show up some games. And when AJ Brown is gone, you can definitely count on him and give him that automatic start. So that's my guy always.
Yeah, well, he works good with AJ Brown too. It's just now they got Barkley, so it's more of a run game, which is what I think dropped Devontae Smith out of the top 25. So if they didn't have Barkley and they had to rely more on the run game, then obviously Devontae Smith gets a boost. So that's my thoughts there. My next
He's just
guy,
a guy I always feel comfortable with buying. Like I don't feel like
but
his value doesn't, bottom
it's,
out. So
it's exactly what you said though. Like if you got him, people don't want to give too much for him because, like what I say, I traded him for Jalen Reed and 2.2 that just happened to be Brock Bowers, so I got proper worth for him. But when you want to go and get him, they don't want it. They want more than what his worth is. It's just he's one of those players, right? All right, so my next guy is kind of a long shot here, but I do like him. I'm hoping that finally, with bitching last year, maybe he can work his way to the doghouse here with Brian Dable because they could really use his speed. There's not much there else in the wide receiver room after Nabbers. I'm going with Jalen Hyatt here. He's a wide receiver of the wide receivers ranked on Fantasy Pro. He's 127. So he's a long shot, somebody you kind of hold. Maybe you wait and see what he does weeks 1 or 2. If he's not even in the game plan at all, then you ditch him and you move on.
Oh, he on the waiver wires and all my dynasty leagues, like the ones that's not deep, like the 28 roster ones, he's on the waiver wire everywhere. If you want him, go get him. And all this save now in the deep ones, somebody might have him way on the bench somewhere, but that man.
But what I'm saying is, if you do go out there and get him because he is free right now, don't wait beyond a week or 2. If he doesn't start putting up points after week 1 and week 2, you ditch him and move on. But I'm hearing good things that he's developing a rapport with Russell Wilson and that. There's some good stuff coming out of camp, but could be just camp talk. So I drafted him in the one league and I dropped him. And in that league, I went back out and I picked him back up because I'm like, well, I got to see. I just got to see.
Now, if he was on the field, which I don't think he gonna be, because they love them some Slayton. I think it's Slayton, huh? Who they keep on signing.
And then after Slayton, it's Wan'Dale Robinson.
But I'm just saying the ones that play the same position as him. Like, even though, if I'm not mistaken, in college he played a lot of slot, but they more so put him as a go guy. And Slayton, that's Slayton position. So I mean, this is a guy I thought had potential, but I really had to start kind of reeling back my excitement for Tennessee people, Tennessee players, because I be loving it. They stats pop out. I be loving their film, but it's the offense they run to help get them a lot of stuff, and a lot of times they don't always transfer over to the NFL. So because I remember I liked them, and then Matt Harmon, who works, does exclusive works with the wide receiver, was like, I don't know about this guy. They only did these trick plays to get him open, and he run from here, which he wouldn't even be able to line up in the NFL. And hey, he haven't done nothing yet. So I'm out on him until he showed me something.
Yeah, you could wait too, and then put in for bids on him if he does anything after week 1. But like I said, he's a long shot. There's not much in these 2 East divisions in depth chart positions for skill players.
All right, I got one higher. Some kind of way. No one ever values this guy where I think he can go. And probably because he's disappointing people many times. When it comes to the postseason, he's usually not available. And that's Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott. You know what I'm saying? He needs for the team to actually have a winning record for him to be playing in your postseason, in your fantasy playoffs. Like if the team is not good, they will shut him down. You know, and that means they're gonna shut Lamb down too. So the team needs to be on the verge of a playoff berth. But Dak is set up. He got another wide receiver. He is set up to do well. Like I said, he was doing well before he went out last season. Is that, like I said, he got hurt to shut him down. I remember that year when he twisted his ankle, he was set to be the quarterback one. That man was averaging 26 points a game. He was going to be the QB1, you know, before he hurt himself. And like that's one thing I'll never forget. Because of course, that's the season I drafted him everywhere. I had him everywhere. In some kind of way, I always have those players. Like players I invest all in, all of a sudden that'd be the time they go get injured. They gonna go crazy and get injured. But so I'm going with Dak. He should he is coming at a good value, you know. So
yeah, I thought about him too. He's like quarterback 18 or something like that, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean,
he's down there. He's definitely going to outplay where you can get him. I'd definitely be looking at him for late rounds and dynasty or seasonals when they come up too, because they don't look at who they got running, like Miles Sanders, and then you got Javonte Williams, two guys who didn't work out for the teams that drafted them. Then you got Jalen Blue, and then you got that Phil Maffei. So they're going to have to pass the ball a lot.
Who you got next?
All right, so I'm going to another team that's just at the wide receiver room's a complete mess. It's kind of like roll your dice after, and I'm even going to say you're going to have to roll the dice even with Stephon Diggs, like on the Patriots, because I don't know if he fits the Patriot way now after this pink powdered stuff on the boat with the ladies. Mm-hmm. We'll see, right? But after him, I'm kind of putting my money on Jalen Polk. He wasn't really out there last year when Drake May was out there. He was hurt, so he hasn't really been on the field. They spent a second-round draft capital on him last year, so I do think they want to get him involved.
I'm thinking you're going to say Kyle Williams. You say Jalen Polk.
I like Jalen Polk over Kyle Williams.
You should have named this segment the Deep Sleeper episode, the ones you coming with, because you naming people. I don't know if you went and looked at the waiver wire and decided to look for people you like, because he's another person that's on the waiver wire. Now
he might be. He's not in waiver wires in the leagues I'm in.
Oh, he's on the waiver wire in a lot of leagues I'm in. Like I said, I'm 28 count man. Now this is a player I don't mind picking off the waiver wire just because of his draft capital, because he was drafted in the second round. But at the same time with that, I didn't believe he deserved to be drafted in the second round. I had him as like I felt like he was like on the level of good player. What's the dude he loved? Jimmy Horn.
Oh, Jimmy Horn.
I felt like he was on a level on him. I was shocked that they dropped that man in the second round. But I wasn't shocked that he didn't do anything for him, because I thought
you go back and you watch those Washington films. Every time that they needed a play done, it wasn't a Dunze they're looking to. It was Polk that they're throwing the ball to. Penix was always
popped out in
Polk.
my model. Dunze had a better score, and the other guy had a better score than him. He was the least one that that popped out to me. I didn't because you get these people that's shorter that have this contested catch a game that don't usually always correlate to the NFL. If you will be under 6'3", you're gonna be 6'2", 6'1", without long arms coming into the NFL thinking you about to win contested catches. Good luck. That ain't for the weak. Nope. You gonna have to be something special to be able to do that.
Antoine Bolden,
yeah, I mean, like I said, it takes a special kind of guy. I'm surprised old boy doing it, because he been doing it on the guy that got traded to the Cowboys. He been making it, but I'm just saying that don't always,
Well, he's 6'3" though, isn't he? Pickens is 6'3".
Nah, he's not that tall. I think he's 6'2" or whatever. But he was supposed to go higher than he went in the draft. He had issues. He had off the field. Was it off the field issues or on the field issues? I don't know, because he always been a knucklehead. But he was supposed to go higher than what he went. So he is a better talent than what his draft capital says it is. But
Like the Florida Gator players, half of them are head cases.
And I was told, I can't think his name. What's his name? Pickett? Is it Pickens? George Pickens. That's what.
George Pickens, yeah. So
George
who do you
Pickens.
like coming out of those Patriots as the top three?
Oh no, I definitely would have to put my money on Diggs. I got to put my money on the veteran. But
I think Diggs is YR1 if they keep him.
Yeah. But if I had to pick a next person, I loved Kyle Williams' film. I love this film. Like I don't know how if anyone watched this film, I don't see how you couldn't like it. You know, he gave you everything you looking for on film. Gave it to the yak separation, everything you looking for. He gave it to you. But is it go correlate to the NFL? We will see. But I like him over Polk. Like I don't think about Polk. When I said, I thought Baker was a better talent than Polk, and him and Baker decided to do nothing. And people thought he didn't play. No, he played 16 games, 16, 17 games. He played all the games. He just sucked.
Who, Baker?
No. I'm talking about Polk. Polk played all the games.
No, he missed a bunch of games.
What I just told you, I went and looked after you said that on one of the things. I'm telling you, he played the games. He did nothing in the games. Telling you, I'm looking at it right now. He played week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5.
Yeah, I know he played a bunch. I thought he missed the last 5 games of the season.
He played week 12, 13, 15, 16, 17. So he only, like I say, it looked like he only missed a bye week. No, he played 15. So he played 15 games. He played 15 games and gave you a bunch of zero most of them games.
Yeah, you shouldn't have expected much from him because they had Jacoby Brissett out there. Their team was in shambles.
No, he came out early and did something. Like week 1, 1.6, week 2, 9.2, week 3, 3.3, week 4, 6 points, week 5, 2.3, week 6, 1.4, and then he gave you 0 week 7, 0 week 9, 7.2 week 10, 0 week 11, 1.7 week 12, 0 week 13, 0 week 14. 15 week 16, 0 week 17, 0. It's just like I can't trust him. I can't do it. But that's because I wasn't on him as a prospect. So I can't, have any hope in him. If I'm not mistaken, he's a no badge guy. I'm gonna have to go confirm.
Oh, he probably is one of your no badge guys, other than the second round draft capital. Do you give draft a badge for that?
No. I don't care about. No, he did get a badge. So he did get the steady progress badge. So this is a player that the more he plays, the better he usually get. That's what I give a badge for. His PFF grade got better each year in college. So he was getting better each year. So maybe that might happen in the NFL. He might get better each year. But if you 6'1", playing the contested games, that contested catch game, that usually ain't gonna cut it. He's 6'1". That ain't gonna cut it. So
I just think he's great at finding the holes and zones and stuff too. It's not just contested catches. But who's your next guy?
Okay. Like I was mentioning, one of the guys I did have on my list is Kyle Williams. I did have Kyle Williams, and that's just as a contingent for Diggs. If Diggs is on his old man stuff, come out there, I'm gonna look for Kyle Williams to show up. And this is a yak master. And as I just said, he gave you everything you wanted on film. If you didn't even want to watch this film, go watch it. He gave you everything you was looking for. Track the ball well, show speed on film, get separation, was able to get you open. But the main thing is he got the yak, yards after the catch. So, and I think he only ended up getting 3rd round draft capital, but it was like 6 picks away from 2nd round draft capital. But
if you're playing that game, Polk's only 4 picks away from 1st round draft capital.
Yeah, Polk is kind of trash though. I told you he shouldn't even got that draft capital. But I was just about to say I was surprised Kyle Williams got that kind of draft capital because to be honest, no one was talking about Kyle Williams until I remember the guy, damn, I forgot his name, but he wanted the big talking heads put him in his top 5 on Twitter and like, hey, all of a sudden he like his name just went through the roof. Everybody started talking about Kyle Williams when he threw him as his top 5 player in the draft. Like I think was it top 5 receiver? It might be top 5
Probably
player.
wide receiver.
I can't
Probably
remember. No. But he put him up there, and that surprised everybody because no one was talking about Kyle Williams. Nah, but yeah, I think he got potential. We will see.
We'll see. Still a rookie though. It's gonna take some time to develop.
Yeah, of course.
I guess it's up to me. I guess Hunter Henry sticking with the Patriots. Another pass option. He's tight end 23. If you need a guy for a season, I think he's a good plug and play type of guy. Going to have Drake May on his second year. Going to look. He does look at the tight end way. So I think Hunter's in for maybe a little bit of a bounce back here, and it's not hard to be a low end tight end 1 in this league.
I kind of agree with you on that. Like if you need a low end tight end option, I don't like that. I think I forgot who the second tight end on the team because he gets a lot of play too. I don't like that. A lot of both of them are getting a lot of snaps. I wish it was
New
just
coaching
more.
regime though.
Okay, but Hunter, I did see a stat on him. He shared a high target share, like a higher target share that you know for the wide receivers, surprisingly higher. He was one of those, and so this guy, he's someone that you can play the matchup zone. Like, I don't know how far people get into it, but since I play DFS, I kind of pay attention to what players going against what defenses, and is that defenses giving tight ends a lot of fantasy points. I kind of look at that because I play DFS, so he's definitely a person to play the matchups if you go against one of these defenses that kind of let the tight end run wild. All right.
Last guy for the night.
And I put 6 guys just in case I needed extra guys. So guess I'll get to pick out of these 2. You know what? I'm going with Jalen Wright. So Jalen Wright, I love this guy as a prospect. And let's be honest, as much as we love Devin A-Chain, I mean, well, take back, you do not love Devin A-Chain.
Nope.
But if Devin A-Chain is on the smaller side, if something was to happen to Devin A-Chain, this man the next step up in in an offense like this. So hey, it'd be Jalen right to the moon if something was to happen to Devin A-Chain. So I'm all in, and he's going to get snaps on his own since Mostert has left. He's gonna get points on his own. So he's gonna get some carries, and that's just his let alone value. But if something was to happen to A-Chain, it's on and popping.
Yeah, I didn't put him on my list because Alex told me he was coming tonight, and I was sure he was going to have him on his list. So it's good you brought him up because I do agree he's one of the top guys outside the top 25 at running backs. That's going to break into that RB2 talk because it's going to naturally get 4 to 8 touches a game that Mostert was getting behind A-Chance. He's going to now get, so naturally he's going to get that bump. But this is what he was saying. This come in right around when you're talking, Terrence.
Oh, that's Alex?
No, I don't know who that is.
Okay, I'm about to say.
Cricket Kamish. Said, sounds like the right pick.
Yeah. Now the other pick I didn't say was Will Shipley. He was my extra pick. I love this. I just think, with everybody just thinking Barkley gonna have another crazy season, his 2 backups is AJ Dillon and Will Shipley, and I would never bet on AJ Dillon. So
No,
I've
me
been
neither. Was a
AJ
guy
Dillon
who,
had his time to shine and failed every time. Every time I would never bet on AJ Dillon, so I get all the Will Shipley I can. I'm liking Jordan Mason. Aaron Jones seems to get hurt often. I was never a Jordan Mason fan. I felt like you can put anybody in that San Francisco offense. Well, not anybody in the offense, but as a running back, anyone except Patrick Taylor seemed like they could score fantasy points. And and that's what Jordan Mason did. He got in there and was scoring fantasy points, and then until it slowed down, because it
he
did
was
slow
leading
down.
the league until his shoulder injury.
It slowed down, and so I was never a fan of him as a prospect. But hey, I'm all about betting against an older running back. So
I think
Eric,
Jordan Mason has made himself an NFL running back. His time in San Francisco, he really soaked up everything and the knowledge of the NFL, and he does like to pound the rock. So he might be injury prone too. We'll see, because last year was his first time handling it. He says he's past his shoulder injury, but I agree. Aaron Jones isn't going to start every game. He misses a bunch of time. He's 30 years old. They paid their second round pick in the class to get Jordan Mason off San Francisco because they had a second round tender on him. So I do like him too. Like, I'm holding him where I got him, and I'm hoping he gets a shot, and I want to see what he can do. But I'm not. At the same time, it's going to be harder to run because it's not Shanahan run holes.
Now, what I don't like is that I know in redraft leagues they like the same price, and if I got to choose for the same price, I'm picking Aaron Jones. I'm not picking Jordan Mason. If I'm paying, I think they're going same round sometimes, or one round apart. Like one, I can't remember. Let's say one goes 7, one go 8. If I'm paying the same price, pretty much, I'm gonna go with Aaron Jones. I know who will give me the highest ceiling. It's not gonna be Jordan Mason. When you pick Jordan Mason, your best scenario in your mind is Aaron Jones goes down with injury, and Jordan Mason carries the rest of the season, and he's in a great offense. That's what you're hoping. But as far as that ceiling, I don't think he has the same ceiling as Aaron Jones.
Not in the per game basis, but Aaron Jones is injury prone. So if you go 0 RB, Jordan Mason isn't a bad guy to get in later rounds. But I don't know if I'd pay an 8th round for him if he's only going one round after Aaron Jones at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's my issue when it comes to the Dallas running backs. If I'm paying the same price, where they like going, they still like bunched up. Let's say they going within 4 rounds. It's like, and I'm like, well, just give me Javonte Williams. Then I'm not gonna bet on Blue. I'm definitely not betting on Miles Sanders. Just give me Javonte Williams if I'm gonna bet on one.
Miles Sanders has been getting the RB1 handle so far in camp.
I don't give a damn. It's Miles Sanders. I don't care. When I'm done with a player, I can't see it in my mind.
Yeah, I'm with you. But I think that brings us to the end of the night. If you want to take us out, Terrence.
Yeah, well, as usual, people, I always say you can always check out Sean and Alex on Fantasy Blind Spot. On
Started
Spotify
back up on Tuesday.
Yeah. What days?
We started back up this Tuesdays, but we go Tuesdays and Fridays, and it drops at noon on Spotify.
Yeah, so you can go sub to that, and of course, I'm doing my thing on That Fantasy Network, and so make sure you go sub to my channel and give me a like and comment. I just started doing mock drafts. So until next week, peace.
Have a good one.